Hey guys, Harry here from the Art Gear Guide. Thank you so much for joining me today. First of all, I apologise if there's any background noise. I'm not at home at the minute, so you can probably hear a lot of people coming and going from different rooms and what have you, so I apologise for that. I've tried to kind of like soundproof where I am as best I can. Anyway, in this video I'm going to talk about my top 5 watercolour pencils or water soluble pencils. So I have made a little bit of a distinction here in this categorizing of these pencils, because we have things like the Derwent Graphite Tint, pencils like that, which are water soluble. They're technically water soluble, but I haven't included those type of pencils like the water soluble graphite, because Caran d'Ache do little sets as well which have got water soluble graphite in them. So I might do a different list of those type of pencils sometime down the line, but for now this is just watercolor pencils that we would normally use. Now, before I get into that, what I want to say is, if you enjoy water soluble pencils, if you think that they are a good medium, or you've perhaps looked at them and thought, you know what, I'm probably better off just going and buying like watercolors, tubes of watercolors or watercolor pans. Well, I understand that, but here's something that you may not be aware of that would completely transform the water soluble pencils that you have. And what's really good about having water soluble pencils is, if you're out and about and you bring like a pencil case with you with some water soluble pencils in it, you can just sit down and do a watercolor just very easily without having to get out loads and loads of stuff, and be able to, at the end of it, produce this beautiful watercolor. So the thing that I'm talking about is this beautiful watercolor palette from Caran d'Ache. Now, it's just a plastic surface. One side of it is rough, the other side of it is very smooth. The smooth side is if you have water soluble markers, you can just use that side to mix different pigments together. And then the rough side, I've actually done a full review of this product. I'll have a link for that down below in the comment section. Go across, take a look at the review, and this little thing, in my opinion, completely transforms water soluble pencils, because it gives you the ability to mix and match just as you would do with watercolors in a pan or from tubes on a palette. This is called the Aquarelle palette, and it really does, in my opinion, boost the usability of water soluble pencils. So anyway, let's get into this list. Now, when I was doing this list, I was actually quite surprised to find the amount of different water soluble pencils, because I was listing them all, I was getting them out, I was testing them, doing things like this here, and I was actually quite surprised at the amount of water soluble pencils that there are that I had completely forgotten about. And so some haven't made this list, but they in themselves are really good water soluble pencils. I'll talk about those towards the very end of the list. But for now, I'm going to start at number 5. Now, I'm going to cheat here. Number 5, I have 2 pencils. I'm really torn between these, and the reason why one of them is in there is because I wanted this to be, as, I know this sounds stupid, as diverse as possible. I didn't want this to all be about one brand of water soluble pencils, so that's one of the reasons why this other pencil's in. So at number 5, I've got the Prismola from Caran d'Ache, and side by side with that, I've got the Brunswick Design Aquarelle pencils. Now, I'm going to talk about the Prismola first of all. So the Prismola comes in a set of 80 and then works its way down to sets of 12. It's not a huge set. It's the pencils themselves are 2.9mm core, which is quite small for a water soluble pencil. Sorry, quite slim for a water soluble pencil, and a 6.5mm barrel. So they're slimline pencils. Now, at the end of this, I'm going to show you a little bit of a swatch to show you the different levels of pigment intensity. But the pigment intensity in this Prismola set is really quite good. They're aimed at students, but I actually think that these Prismola pencils could be used by proper watercolor pencil artists. Now, the Brunswick Design Aquarelle, Again, all of these pencils, by the way, I've done individual reviews of. I'll have links for them down below. You can go across and take a look at the reviews. This isn't about the actual pencils. This is more just about, you know, a top 5 list. But the Brunswick line, Brunswick as a company, or it's actually Royal Talents, they create some beautiful products. And a lot of them seem to get overlooked a lot by a lot of different reviewers and what have you. So I just like trying to bring those back into the fold and showing them off to you guys. But the Brunswick Design Aqua Whale are a really gorgeous pencil. They come in a really unique packaging, which again you'll see more about if you go over to the review. The only thing about these is they only come in a 48 set. That's the largest set that they have. It's a 3.6mm core, so it's a little bit thicker than the Prismola, the Caran-d'Ache Prismola, which is good because the thicker the core of a water-soluble pencil, the better it is going to be for the artist, the more pigment you're going to be able to lift off it and things like that. And it's a 7.1mm barrel. The Brunswick pencil is a round barrel, forgot to say that, and the Prismola pencil is a hexagonal pencil. So that's, like I say, it's cheating, but that's the 2 pencils that I squeezed in at my top 5. Now the next one is number 4. So coming in at number 4, I have the Caran-d'Ache Supercolor Soft water soluble pencils. Now these are a gorgeous set of pencils. They come in a 120 set. That's the most that they come in. They have a gorgeous range of colors within that 120 set. Sometimes whenever I do reviews and I really nitpick on sets, it's possible for me at this stage, you know, I've been doing these reviews now for nearly 10 years I think, and I'm at the stage now where I can see the difference between a palette that has been well thought of by the company. In other words, they've considered the colours that they're going to put into the set, as opposed to colours that might have just been thrown in there, you know, kind of like, yeah, just stick in a family of yellows, reds, that type of thing. And I think that the Caran-d'Ache Supercolor Soft, granted they have 120 colours that they've allowed themselves to be able to put in there, but really, really nice. They're 3.8mm core, so nice size core for a water soluble pencil. And it's a 6.9mm barrel, and it's hexagonal. Now, if you have the Caran-d'Ache Supercolor Soft pencil lying beside the Caran-d'Ache Pablo pencil, they're almost identical. So, you know, both hexagonal pencils. There has been many times when I have been working on a project or something like that, and I've had all my pencils out lying all over the place, and I've lifted a Pablo thinking it's going to be a water soluble, a Supercolor Soft pencil, gone to activate it and nothing's happened. So that's something just worth thinking about. Coming in at number 3 is the Faber-Castell Albrecht Dürer water soluble pencils. Again, they come in 120 set, which is excellent. A lot of people will probably be thinking 120 colours is a bit much for a water soluble palette, and I would be in agreement with you there in certain aspects of what we're thinking about here. If you're good at colour theory, you understand the values and stuff like that, you understand mixing colours and how they're going to react when you mix 2 colours together. If you're good at that and you understand that, you could get away with a set of 12 or preferably a 24 set of water soluble pencils and be able to create all the colours that you're ever going to need through mixing. And like I say, if you have that little palette that I was talking about at the beginning of the video, that's just going to make the process all the easier for you. A lot of watercolor pencil artists, they tend to mix on the page, which is one way of doing it, but just that little palette gives you a better visual idea of what the outcome of that mix is going to be. But I think that the 120 set is really nice. It's a nice option for artists to go for, especially newer artists to the medium. But the Faber-Castell Albrecht Dürer is 120 set, a 3.8mm core, so again, really nice thick core. and a 7.5mm barrel. Now they have a hexagonal barrel, but also as well Albrecht Dürer have like a jumbo set. Now I can't remember exactly what that set goes up to. I think it's only 24, might even be 48. And it's basically all it is the Albrecht Dürer pencil, only it's almost double in size. They're actually called the Albrecht Dürer Magnus, so it's not that jumbo, but the core on the Magnus is around about 6.1mm, so almost double. And the barrel, again hexagonal, is 9.4mm, so considerably bigger than the ordinary pencil. But again, that just gives you as an artist the ability to fill in larger areas much faster, that type of thing. But the Faber-Castell Albrecht Dürer, the pigment level within those pencils is beautiful. And like I said, at the end of this, don't forget, I'm going to be showing you a swatch of all of these pencils just to give you a visual representation of why I have categorized these pencils 1 to 5. Coming in at number 2, I know a lot of people are going to probably think that this is quite a controversial pencil to have in at number 2, because it may or may not be considered a traditional watercolor pencil, but that's a debate for you guys. And I would love to hear your thoughts on it in the comment section down below. But coming in at number 2, I've put the Derwent Inktense. Now, the reason why I think it's a controversial selection is because all of the other pencils are watercolor pencils, so they can be lifted and stuff like that. Like if you put a layer down, you wet it, you can come back after it's dried, wet it again, and lift off some color. That's basically the very basic understanding of watercolors. With the Derwent Inktense, you are essentially working with ink, and so when you apply the pencil, you activate it and it becomes like a paint. When that dries, that's it. It's not, you can't lift off that color again. It's on the paper, and that's it. So I could understand why people might think that it shouldn't be in at number 2, but it's such a gorgeous pencil. And now that Derwent have extended the set up to 100 set, you know, that really does start pushing it up there with the more popular water soluble pencils. Again, that pencil is nice and thick, good chunky pencil. It's a 3.8mm core and an 8mm barrel. The pencil itself is actually round, but again, don't forget, I have links for all of these pencils that I have reviewed individually down below. What I will say is, some of them, like the Faber-Castell Albrecht Dürer, the Bronzeal, and I think the Caran d'Ache Super Colors, they were done quite a while ago, so please forgive the audio quality and the video quality. So that was my number 2. Let me just give you a rundown again. So coming in at number 5, I had the Prismola and Bronzeal Design Aquarelle. Number 4 was the Caran d'Ache Super Color. Number 3 was the Faber-Castell Albrecht Dürer. And then number 2 was the Derwent Inktense. Now, I'm sure all of you already know what my number 1's going to be, but it is number 1 by a huge margin, and that is the Caran d'Ache Museum Aquarelle. So I purchased this set. Now they come in a set. The biggest set they have is an 80 set, and that's in the wooden box set, and that's not a full 80 set of colours. I think 2 of those are water soluble graphite pencils, and some of them are doubled as well. So I think, if memory serves me rightly, the entire count is 76, but in the wooden box set that I purchased was there was 80 pencils there, but like I say, I think the white was duplicated and there was a couple of water soluble graphite. But the Caran d'Ache Museum Aquarelle is a gorgeous pencil. It's got a 4mm core, so really chunky, good for covering big layers, or sorry, big areas, and it's a 7.7mm barrel. So the pencil is all pigment, and when you're using it and you get to see the quality of the pigment whenever you activate it with water, it's just spectacular. You can put down a very, very light layer of the Caran d'Ache Museum Aquarelle. You might think to yourself in your head, you know, that's not really going to produce anything in terms of a layer, a colour, but you'd be wrong. As soon as that pigment is touched by water, it just bursts with colour. I'm going to show you now the swatch that I've done with all 5 of these pencils, and as you can see, the Caran d'Ache Museum Aquarelle pencil is head and shoulders above the others with regards to the intensity of the pigment whenever it's activated. So within the swatch, you can see the pencils in their dry form and then in their activated wet form. And whilst the Derwent Inktints is very, very vibrant as well, as is the Faber-Castell Abricture, they're just not up there with the Caran d'Ache Museum Aquarelle. And when we come down to the Supracolor Soft and then the Prismola and the Bronzale, again, they're all gorgeous pencils. The reason why I put the Bronzale in at number 5 was because I didn't want this to all be about Caran d'Ache water soluble pencils, but unfortunately, not unfortunately, but it's just a fact that the Caran d'Ache produce some wonderful products, and not only do they produce wonderful products, but they put so much thought into their palettes, and they're so generous when it comes to, you know, the pigment intensity within their pencils, even right down to some of their sets that are aimed at kids, like the Fan Color and stuff like that, water soluble pencils. Some of those pencils, in say like the Fan Color and the Swiss Color, they can match some so-called artist grade water soluble pencils. So it really is remarkable what Caran d'Ache do, and I know that they can be costly, but you know, you get what you pay for. So that's really about it for my top 5. Some of the other pencils that I had in my list that I missed off that, you know, really should have been here as well is Lara Rembrandt. They do an Aquarelle set which are just gorgeous, and the Caran d'Ache Swiss Color as well. Like I say, it's aimed mainly for kids. Caran d'Ache had the Swiss Color out in its water soluble form, but then they brought out the set in its just ordinary form as a colour pencil. It's very confusing because both of those sets look exactly the same, but those are other water soluble pencils that are gorgeous. Koh-i-Noor have a really good set as well. But that's my top 5. Let me know what your top 5 is, guys. Let me know if it's the same as mine, or if you would change the layout on mine. You know, maybe yours, for you, it might be the Faber-Castell Abricture, might be number 1. So let me know. Change it around. If there's any watercolor pencils that I've missed, let me know. You know, you might sometimes when I do these lists, I get to hear about pencils that I may not have known about, and so I can get a chance to review a new pencil, which is always a good thing. But if you think I've left any off, let me know. And that's really about it, guys. Thank you so much for all your support, for watching these videos and hitting those ads and what have you. It really does help me out, guys. So thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing you all again in the next video. Bye.